Well, good afternoon everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Lee, your virtual airline pilot, back with you again for the third of this week's review videos. Where are we? We're in the Indian Ocean. We're on the island of Mahe in the Seychelles Islands, and this is the Seychelles International Airport, located near the city of Victoria, which is the capital of the Seychelles. Foxtrot Sierra India Alpha. This is a payware scenery by CAELUS AERIAL, and at the moment we're looking at version 2 for the PC and the Xbox versions of Flightsim.To. No details yet on a version for 2024, so this is for 2020. Download is 305 meg and it installs at 917 meg. It's available from a variety of vendors. You can get it from AnyBuild, SimMarket and Flightsim.To. The best price I can find is at Flightsim.To, where it's €13.27, which equates to roughly $13.67 US, or £11.17 UK. All the prices are estimates taken from the UK pound, and they include tax or VAT at 20%, which may vary depending on your country of purchase. Now, depending on where you normally buy your scenery from, obviously look at the three prices because they may well change from time to time. But at the time of recording this video, Flightsim.To had certainly had the best price for UK customers. Okay, so let's look at features. Okay, features. Highly detailed models with high resolution PBR textures, up-to-date runway, taxiway, apron and stands layout, custom and accurate taxiway signage, accurate taxiway and runway lighting, realistic dynamic lighting, and accurate terrain elevation and runway profile. So I've reviewed products from this developer before, and generally he's quite good. And those of you who know this area will know there's a good product out by Flightsim Development Group, or FSDG, which includes the whole island. This scenery is just the airport, so I'll leave you to decide whether you want the airport and the whole island that FSDG give you, or whether you're interested in the airport and whether you like this one or not. So there we go with features. Let's talk some history. Okay, history. Seychelles International Airport, Foxtrot Sierra India Alpha, is a public/military use international airport operated by the Seychelles Civil Aviation Authority. The airport is the international airport of the Seychelles and is located on the island of Mahe, near the capital city of Victoria, some 8 miles or 13 kilometers southeast of the city centre. The airport is the home base and head office of Air Seychelles, the national airline, and features several regional and long-haul routes due to its importance as the gateway to a major international leisure destination. The airport is accessible by the Victoria-Providence Highway and forms part of the administrative districts of La Pointe, La Rue, the terminal area, Cascade-Providence in the north, and Anse-aux-Pins in the south, a military base. The domestic terminal is a short distance north of the international terminal and offers inter-island flights with peak departures every 10 to 15 minutes at busy times, which corresponds with international arrivals and departures every 30 minutes at other times. A cargo terminal is located south of the main international terminal and handles freight from all international domestic destinations. It's run by Air Seychelles. The base of Seychelles Public Defence Force, or the SPDF, is at the southeastern end of runway 13 on an island that was joined with Mahe at the construction of the airport. The opening of Seychelles International Airport took place on the 20th of March 1972 by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Wilkinair of Kenya had, however, already started a ferry service between Mombasa and Mahe via Diego Suarez in Madagascar and Astove Island in the Seychelles, using the twin-engine Piper Navajo the previous year. It operates to the Seychelles once a week. The first pilot to land at Seychelles Airport was Tony Bentley Buckle, who flew his private plane from Mombasa to Mahe via Moroni in March 1971, even before the airfield was complete. Flying time was 9 hours and 37 minutes. In 1972, John Faulkner Taylor and Tony Bentley Buckle founded the first local aircraft company, Air Mahe, which operated a Piper PA-34 Seneca between Praslin, Frigate and Mahe Islands. This aircraft was later replaced by a Britten-Norman Islander. By 1974, over 30 airlines were flying to the Seychelles. Ground handling and all airport operations were being carried out by Aviation Seychelles Company, a company formed in 1973. Construction works for the substantial expansion of the airport began in July 1980. Due to the continuous increase in passenger traffic, a terminal building was built that could cater for 400 or more arriving and departing passengers at any time. Parking bays for up to 6 large aircraft were built and a parking area for 5 light aircraft. So there you go, some history for you. Very important destination internationally, gateway to a number of islands and a very popular holiday destination for those who can afford it. So that was history. Let's look at this runway now and see what we've got in terms of NAVAIDS. Okay, so runways are navigational aids. Let me start by saying if you experience double runways, which I did to begin with, and I'll show you a little image in a moment to show you exactly what happened with the double runways. We actually got an additional PAPI placed here, and obviously the runway situation was doubled. I'm going to do a short video to show you how to get rid of that situation. It's quite easy to do. What it means you have to do is to reorder the scenery order. Now, one thing to point out, if you buy a scenery or payware scenery from the marketplace, unfortunately you won't be able to do that because Flight Simulator automatically loads the scenery in alphabetical order. So you won't be able to do that. However, if you purchase a scenery from a third party or elsewhere, you actually can reorder the scenery, and basically you reorder it in such a way that if you've got Navigraph, which is what I have, which is what tends to cause most of these issues, because there's no Seychelles in the default scenery, if you reorder the scenery, then you'll get rid of the double runways. And as you can see here, we've managed to do that. We've got the runway and the taxiway and lighting just as it should be. So I'm going to make a short video to help those of you who are interested in finding out how to do that, and I'll link it up here and in the description below. But for the moment, I've lowered the lighting. It's 5:30 in the evening local time. We're staring down the throat of the one main runway here. So Seychelles Airport operates a single runway, 3113, measuring 9,800 feet or 2,987 meters, and it's made from concrete. The airport lies at an elevation of just 12 feet or 3.5 meters and sits within the GMT UTC plus 4 hours time zone. So the country does not observe daylight saving time or DST, and with the UK now back on UTC GMT, the airport is still 4 hours ahead of the UK. So we're looking down the throat of runway 31, which features high intensity runway lighting, airfield lighting system, runway end identifier lighting system and precision approach path indicators on both sides of the runway. So we've got pretty much everything here. The only thing they've added is a centerline, but here's the airfield lighting system, the approach lighting system, which is on the charts, and it goes all the way up. You've got this displaced threshold here to give you a longer takeoff run. High intensity lighting for the runway and 2 sets of PAPIs either side of the main runway, and here you've got the flashing runway end identifier lighting system. So that's all as it should be. So approach options for runway 31, you have a standard instrument landing system with Y and Z approach options, and you also have an RNP approach options with X, Y and AR options as well. So that looks pretty good. Let's go down the other end and have a look at runway 13. Okay, so here we are looking down the throat of runway 13, which again features high intensity runway lighting, high intensity airfield lighting system, runway alignment indicator lights or RAILs, and you've got these here. Runway end identifier lighting system, you've got the 2 there showing they're right next to the threshold. the lead-in light system, which you've got here, and again precision approach path indicators on both sides. So if I move back a little bit, there you can see we've actually got the same approach lighting system as at the other end. The lead-in lights usually extend out into the bay here, but essentially we've got everything that we need. The only thing that's been added is the center line. But as you can see, the runway's well lit, it's well marked out. I'm not really bothered at all. You've got everything you need here to make a safe landing. Approach options for runway 13, you only have an RNP, X, Y and AR approach option. There's no ILS at this end. There's also an unspecified RNPW approach option which applies to both ends of this runway. So there we are, pretty much exactly as it should be. The only other thing you probably noticed is the runway here in this scenery is actually asphalt when it should be concrete. But again, I'm not so much bothered about that. The runway's well defined and you can see it, and it'll be lit up as well. So that's not really a problem. But in terms of accuracy and realism, this runway should be concrete, not asphalt. So once again, if you're having double runways, check out my video linked in the description, and I'll show you how to change the priority order. And that's for those of you who have bought scenery from a third party, such as SimMarket or Contrail or whatever. If you bought it in the marketplace, then you'd have to, I don't think you can change it at all. You might be able to use the reordering tool, but I'm pretty sure you can't change the scenery order because the program loads it in alphabetical order. So that was runways. No jetways at this airport, so let's get down to the airport itself and have a good look and see what we're presented with here. Okay, welcome back. So we start the main tour here at the southern end. Got runway 31 threshold to the left of us, and we'll work northwest towards the terminal area. We'll actually go across the little bay in front of us here as well. So it all looks pretty nice, and it all looks fairly basic here as well. I mean, you've got these little buildings that have been done. I'm not sure if they're in the scenery or if they're part of the default, but that looks nice nonetheless. So as you can see, we've got this huge runway. I mean, I say huge, it's 9,800 feet, which arguably isn't that long, but it's long enough. And the area looks pretty nice. It looks fairly realistic. You might not agree with the surrounding terrain, but remember the island hasn't been included in the scenery. You may prefer that with the FSDG version, but the object today is to look at this version. And it all looks fairly okay. I don't really see much of a problem at all. So now we come towards the terminal area airside. Just come down a little bit and slow down a bit. So plenty of buildings, light aircraft, general aviation aircraft and hangars there. There's the fire station down there with some fire tenders and various other models. Control tower. Let's have a quick look at the control tower. So here's the tower, and you can see it's been developed inside. However, it's a basic development, no controllers, just a very basic interior model. But no problem with that at all. And while we're at this end of the airport, let's have a close look at some bits and pieces here. You've got a couple of boats which are presumably used by the fire service, should it be necessary. And then you've got the fire service, fire tenders there, and a couple of fire cars and an operations vehicle. So here you've got a couple of default aircraft with some hangars, hangar doors there partly open. Wonder what's inside, if anything. Right, so that looks like a glass partition. Let's go through into the hangar. There's the interior, but it's not actually built. And there's landside of that hangar. Got a couple of cars, and here you got the landside road. Yeah, and some nice buildings as well. So returning to our tour, we go past these various buildings onto the main apron, which is nicely developed. Concrete's a bit bright, but I think that's the way it should be actually. There's my aircraft parked on one of the stands. Stand number 4 actually. And as you can see, it's all pretty good. That, I believe, is an aircraft from FSLTL. Probably the wrong type. Obviously Bonda doesn't come here. Certainly not in a 737, not this far. Here's the fuel farm. A couple of vehicles down there stuck inside the building. You've got this additional area here. And yeah, we've got some default aircraft parked here. But nice concrete textures. Very nice. Okay, so here's the daytime view from the cockpit when you park up on stand 4. This is what you'll see out of the flight deck. There's a view from the captain's side. And there's a view looking across the first officer's window. Okay, here we are back on the main stand. Get a close look at the daytime. Now I have GSX Pro installed, and as you can see, it works. There's no GSX profile that I can see. Certainly nothing mentioned in the features, and there's no separate profile that I've been able to download and put in to the appropriate GSX folder. However, as you can see here, we've got the correct operations vehicles and stairwells and stuff that have been selected. So they're obviously part of this scenery, and they've been used by GSX Pro. And again for the front stairs, which is nice. And as you can see here, we're parked on the centre line. I spawned directly from the menu. We're almost at the stop bar. Not quite, but almost. But as you can see, nicely developed terminal. You've got the baggage area underneath there, complete with baggage carts. It's a pity that GSX puts the tug right in the building. But then, as I said, there isn't a GSX profile that I've seen for this particular version of the Seychelles. Hopefully somebody will make one so we can correct this little issue. But there's a look across the stands. I mean, it's fine, it's really not a problem at all. And looking in the other direction. So here we are landside. Again, it's fairly basic. The vehicle models are quite basic as well. Palm trees are nice. Everybody knows I like the palm trees. And we've got some fairly basic bits and pieces here. No internal development in the terminal as such that I can see. So here's the landside road. And looking in the other direction. And here you can see a very low resolution attempt to sort of show some kind of inside. So here's the inside landside, which isn't modelled. And here's the airside area on the lower floor that's not been modelled. Although you can see the baggage reclaim area there. And here's the baggage area. As you can see, it's partitioned because we've got this here, but it's a false wall. So when you look from the other side, you'll see the wall, but there's no interior development here. So just a little tour landside while we've got the opportunity to see what's been made on the scenery. Okay, the 3D car park's been done in 3D. Cars are in their slots. The cars are fairly basic, but they're all in their slots, nothing missing there. There's the catering area. Would have been nice if the vehicles could have been branded as SKYCHEFS as well. And here's the other landside car park, and there you can see you've got hotels on the other side in the distance. And there in the far distance to the right hand side there's some a works area and some bits and pieces over there to the right. It's all nice, it's fairly basic, not an awful lot of effort's been put into this in terms of what we're sort of used to seeing these days. But you know, it's a fairly basic scenery, and to be honest, that's reflected in the price. Okay, so that was daytime. Let's lower it down to dusk now and have a look at the lighting. Okay, 20 to 6 in the evening. Lights came on about 4 minutes ago, and here we are looking at the airport main central area here at dusk, which looks pretty cool. I mean, you've got the expected flood of Asobo globes landside here, because as I said, it's a basic scenery. But it's a cheap payware scenery. It's the price. The work is reflected in the price, to be honest. And if you want a payware version of the airport that gives you everything you need without having to pay a fortune, or you want something better than the default, well, there isn't a default as far as I understand it in Flightsim 2020. The Seychelles airport isn't listed. So you're going to get this. You've got the two options. This is the cheaper of the two, and it looks fine. As you can see, green centerline lights will help you get in to the apron. Apron lighting is pretty reasonable, can't see any problems there. There's the lovely view into the bay, runway 13 threshold. And they're looking in the other direction. I mean, okay, you've got Asobo globes here floating all over the place. But this has all been quite nicely done. You've got the fire station and the various operational vehicles, and you've got the lead-in road that takes them out to the runway when there's an emergency. A quick view from the flight deck at dusk. Again, this is what you will see when you park up at this time of the evening. There's a captain's side, and you can also see the control tower has some lighting from here. We'll have a look at that in a minute. And a view from the first officer's window. Nice to see the baggage area as well lit, which is good. Quick look at some signage. Here you can see taxiway signage. Again, they're on plinths in the grass, which is good, and they're quite nicely lit. Be nice to see the glow into the glass here, but you don't get that with this scenery. There's the sign, Taxiway Bravo, denoting going into the runway there. And here we are on the runway, and you've got the exit sign here taking you into the apron. And there's a view leading into the apron. We have no blue airfield edge lights at this airport. And just a quick view close up here at the fire station. Have a look at the lighting here. And there's a nice view just landside of that area complex. There you can see a building with one of the aircrafts hoarding advertising on the side of it. Pity about these Asobo globes floating all over the place, but that's one of the things in this scenery. So there's the control tower. As you can see, the light really is mainly coming from the screens inside that are just lit white. But it all looks fine. It's missing the red beacon on top, which is a mandatory requirement for Category 6 and 7 airports, which is this airport would be, because it's an international airport. So there needs to be a red light on top here. But there you go. So we do a very quick tour of the stands. Lighting is disappearing fast, as you can see. In these latitudes the dusk doesn't really last that long, going to night fairly quickly. But there's enough here for you to keep you occupied. It's certainly better. It's the only airport flights it's the only Seychelles airport available apart from the FSDG complex, because Seychelles for some reason hasn't been included in the default airports. But no, so if you want that airport, this is fine. So that was dusk. Let's drop it down to night time now. Okay, 10 PM local time, and as you can see, the ramp lighting has come up a little bit, and the essentially the dusk, the whole semblance of a daytime has gone completely, and that looks pretty nice. You've got your green centerline lights as well, which will help you get around. There's runway 13 threshold in the distance, and they're looking in the other direction. Runway 31 in the far distance, and here below us you have the fire station and the various other buildings, and of course the lighting looks fine. So a quick tour of the airside area. You've got that beautiful moon reflecting on the bay in the distance to the left there. And it looks fine. You're not going to have any trouble getting in here. You'll need your nose gear light, but really that's about it. And the lighting is quite realistic, it's quite subtle, and it's fine, it's lovely. Just, you know, beautiful lighting. Again, it's one of these airports that comes to life and looks a lot better in the darkness hours. Then we have a little look landside. There's the building with the motif on the side. You know, and it looks fine. It's perfectly acceptable. I mean, in a way, it's more than acceptable when you consider that this airport hasn't been put in to the default scenery collection, which is a real kind of amazing thing. But no, this is perfectly acceptable. It's not the best in the world. As I said, it's fairly basic, but it's got everything you need as a pilot coming in here. And as I've said previously, if you have issues with double runways, they can be sorted out reasonably easily. Okay, so that was a quick tour at night time. Let's bring the dawn up. Okay, 5:30 in the morning, and as you can see, the sun is coming up and it's cast this really lovely glow on the buildings, which it's nice to see. Runway 13 threshold, and there we've got runway 31 threshold, and you've got the sun rising in the distance there. Really nice. Okay, to now later, 6:30 in the morning, time to wrap up this review. First thing to say, as I've mentioned at the beginning, if you have double runways, use the method that I've highlighted in the video to try and solve them. Hopefully that will help you, and this is what you'll end up with. So the pros: it's a nice scenery, and obviously Seychelles is not in the default scenery library. So if you want the Seychelles, then you'll need to buy one of two airports, or I think there's also a freeware on Flightsim.To. This one is slightly better than the freeware. If you want a decent payware airport, this will do, and it's fairly good value. I mean, it's under 14 euros. It's about just over $14 US, about £11 UK. I mean, it's not expensive, and you get quite a lot. You know, AIRSIDE is good. Everything you need. GSX seems to work fine, even though there's no actual official profile for it. Great to see the Air Seychelles vehicles coming here and there. But no, this is what it looks like when it's all set in, and it's fine. It's more than acceptable. It's not the greatest. Like I said, it doesn't make use of some of the many wonderful features we've got these days in the scenery that's available to creators. It's not one of the top ones. Like I said, if you want the Seychelles, this is more than acceptable. However, if you want the better one and you want the whole island as well, then certainly have a look at the FSDG version. Their version is pretty good too, but this is quite acceptable. The cons, well, obviously the cons are that I experienced double runways when I started this, and I managed to solve them. But as I said, it's fairly basic. There really is no amazing development going on here. Terminal isn't developed at all. But I think the things that I like about it certainly looks better at dusk or at night. The lighting really brings the airport to life. The NAVAIDS are all pretty good, and everything seems to work there. But yeah, it's fine. At the price it's being offered at, I think it's more than acceptable. But don't expect Flightsim.To or Pyrig Dev Company. It's certainly nowhere near that. But as a standalone payware scenery, it's fine, mainly because it's the right price. If it was any more expensive, I'd really bulk at it. But this developer has done a variety of other sceneries that actually are much better than this one. If you're interested, go and have a look on SimMarket and just call him up and look at some of the other projects he's done. He's pretty good. So there you go, folks. That's my sort of estimate here. Seychelles Airport in Victoria on the island of Mahe in the Seychelles Islands. Foxtrot Sierra India Alpha. This is a payware scenery by CAELUS AERIAL, and this is the current version 2, and it's available for PC and Xbox versions of Flight Simulator 2020. Nothing about 2024 version, nothing available for that yet, certainly from this developer. Download is the 305 meg, and it installs at just under a gig, 917 meg. Available from various vendors, AnyBuild, SimMarket and Flightsim.To. I'll give you the Flightsim.To price, which is certainly the best one for UK purchasers. €13.27, which equates to €13.67 US, or £11.17 UK. So all prices are estimates taken from the UK pound, and they include tax or VAT at 20%, which of course could vary if you purchase a scenery being located in another country. The features are fine. Night lighting makes this look really good. 3D modelling airside where it's needed and looks perfectly okay. And yeah, it's fine. Happy to recommend it for somebody who wants a payware airport for this airport on this island. It's quite nice. But like I said, it's not top notch, but it's more than acceptable. So there you are, folks. If you're wondering why I was looking at this scenery, it's been out for a little while. I was asked to review it by a viewer who emailed me some time back, and I just managed to sort of get time to do it, and so this is what I'm doing. So there we go. That wraps it up for this week. Stay tuned next week. We'll be looking at Basra in Iraq, which looks to be quite a nice little airport. It's a little bit of a gem, I think, that's been kind of missed. We'll have a look at that. And also we will be going back to the Okavango in Botswana. We'll be taking the Cessna out, and we'll be doing a flight from Maun up to Kasani. It's a 2-hour flight. Obviously the video will be edited for you, but we're going to have a look at Africa and get back in the air and hopefully do a nice video for you. So thanks for joining me, thanks for watching. I hope this has helped you. Stay tuned for the next couple of videos, and yeah, my thanks for all your support and all the viewers that have watched my videos. Thank you very much. My name's Lee, your virtual airline pilot. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have good flights, be safe, and see you soon. Bye for now.